read a second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Honorable Ben Roland Igbakpa. I represent Ethiopia East, Ethiopia West, and by the grace of God, we are from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, I hereby move a bill for an act to repeal the Federal Maintenance Agency Act and to provide for the establishment of the National Infrastructure Management and Maintenance Agency and for other related matters be moved the second time. I beg to move. Mr. Speaker, fellow honorable colleagues, once again, I am Honorable Ben Roland Igbakpa. I represent Ethiopia East, Ethiopia West, and by the special grace of God, we are from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, this is a straightforward piece of legislation. It's about the maintenance culture that we are lacking as a nation. Not too long ago, Mr. Speaker, there was a study that shows Nigeria needs to invest about $20 billion for the next 10 years to meet up our infrastructure gap. Well, Mr. Speaker, the question that comes to mind is, what are we doing with the ones that we have in the past? Mr. Speaker, there was a time we used to have refineries that were refining for Nigeria and were not depending on imported fuel. There was a time we had a national stadium in Lagos. There was a time we have a national stadium in Abuja. There was a time we have steel mining companies. And, Mr. Speaker, today, the way they are is not what it ought to be. It's not that Nigeria is not acquiring, the acquisition is not being maintained. So that is what this bill stands to correct. Begging you, Mr. Speaker, my respected colleagues.
Oh, you have a point of order? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just moments ago, you said that there was a bill that was going to be repealed, and we should have the previous bill and the current bill. That's the situation we have right now as well. There's no literature in my hands on this particular bill. So if the mover could be gracious enough to wait till Tuesday when we have both literature on the former bill and the new one, it will be most appreciated. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And I'm sure at that level, they can put all of them together. Bills are not made just because we want to show off. It is made for the interest of the nation. And whenever a bill is coming, I think the interest of the nation should be paramount, not about who is bringing the bill. So for me, the experts should look at it and see how they can incorporate everything. But what I intend to do, my main intention is to ensure compatibility, where we can bring everything together under one umbrella and get people responsible. Because in Nigeria, people seem to take offices without taking the necessary liabilities. Because if you take office and something go wrong in the process of you standing for that office, people should be sanctioned, people should be punished. That is why this bill created what we call compliant officers, who should be responsible to report where there's a little defect in the public infrastructure. And if that person does not report, then the person is sanctioned. Fellow honorable members, I want to thank you. I am very happy. This is the first time I am having a situation like this that has generated this much response. And I think we are climbing gradually. Mr. Speaker, having listened to my colleagues and the mood of the House, we know that like every other facet of life, no bill is perfect. Bills, like I know when I was in the State House of Assembly, are done in such a way that you remove the stone from the rice. But in this situation, I have seen that the biggest of the stone here is FERMA. And we are looking at issues that have to do with funding. But before I round up, Mr. Speaker, there's a question that is begging for answer. People are afraid that it will be too bulky, too enormous, too much weight to carry. The question here is, should we continue the old ways or we should change things? Because the Ninth Assembly is known for doing novel things. But because of the mood of the House, Mr. Speaker, I am appealing that this bill be stepped down so that I will be allowed to go back, consult with some of the gods here, so that we can look at it and see how we can bring it back, maybe fresh, not too heavy, remove some of the wings and the feathers so that it can fly. I beg to move that, Mr. Speaker.
If you remove wings and feathers, how will it fly? It's wings they used to fly now. But I like the way Honorable Igbakpa has put it, but let me sound a note of, for want of a better word, warning. This bill, as well thought out as it is, actually opens a can of worms and throws up a lot of more questions than answers. Like somebody said, all assets, all infrastructure are domiciled with one ministry, department, or agency, which we appropriate money for. When I say it opens up more questions than answers, it is almost self-indicting. Because what it means is that we have failed in our oversight functions. If you're saying that assets are decaying, they're not doing anything, and we have appropriated money to them, and we come back here on the floor to say that, it's self-indicted. So I think committees, particularly chairman, deputy, and the gods in the committees, should please take note. The reason why this issue has come up by Honorable Igbakpa is because of the situation. It's a good bill, but it's self-indicted. So having stepped it down, Chairman, Business and Rules, will you please step down the